This story follows a massive, powerful bull who carries the gentle heart of a small child. While every other bull dreams of fighting, winning, and becoming stronger, Ferdinand finds peace in something completely different. He prefers the quiet scent of flowers, he avoids conflict, he doesn't crave strength, and yet, despite everything he is, he's still pushed toward the very fate he never wanted. The story begins in Casa del Toro, Spain, a place where bulls are trained for bullfighting from the moment they are born. Here, calves clash horns and test their strength every day. Among them is 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵, the strongest of all, fearless and aggressive, driven by one goal, to be just like his father. 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵 believes strength is everything. Nearby, we see a black calf named Ferdinand. Unlike the others, he doesn't fight, he doesn't compete. He spends his time admiring flowers, quietly enjoying their fragrance. This difference makes him an outsider. It's what separates him from every other bull in the field. Suddenly, a loud engine echoes across Casa del Toro. The winner truck arrives. 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵 is immediately excited. Ferdinand, confused, asks what the truck is for. 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵 proudly explains that today the matadors are choosing a bull for the arena. He's certain they'll pick his father, and he boasts that when he grows up into a ferocious bull, he'll be chosen too. 𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁 interrupts, insisting that he'll be the one selected instead. 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 mocks him, accusing him of being afraid of the matador. Bonus jumps in next, bragging that his agility will make him the winner. Tension rises fast. 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 snaps, angrily kicking Bonus to the ground. Ferdinand rushes over to help Bonus, but instead of gratitude, Bonus insults him, calling him weak. 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 then reaches down and tries to tear away Ferdinand's flower. Ferdinand steps forward, protecting it, and quietly says that 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 can hurt him if he wants, but begs him not to touch the flower. Soon after, the large bulls are led into the fighting arena, including 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵's father and Ferdinand's father, Raf. The matador watches closely as the bulls charge at each other, their strength evenly matched. Both fight bravely, refusing to back down. In the end, Raf overpowers 𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵's father. The matador points. Raf has been chosen. Raf is overwhelmed with pride and joy. He rushes to Ferdinand and tells him the news. Father and son share a moment of happiness. Raf explains that every bull dreams of entering the ring and returning victorious. He tells Ferdinand not to be sad, promising he'll be back soon. Ferdinand hesitates and admits that he doesn't share that dream. He tells his father that he doesn't like fighting at all. Raf gently insists that Ferdinand's feelings will change when he grows up, that one day he'll be even stronger than him and become a champion. Ferdinand quietly says he doesn't want that life. Raf explains that bulls don't get to choose their fate. This is how their world works. Just then, the winner truck arrives again. Raf lowers his head and tells Ferdinand it's time for him to go, promising to return and teach him everything he knows. Then he leaves. Ferdinand waits for his father every single day. He listens for the sound of the truck, imagining Raf returning just like he promised. One day he hears the horn again and runs forward excitedly, but his father isn't there. Raf never came back. Ferdinand is devastated. He misses him deeply. Then someone cruelly tells Ferdinand the truth. Raf was weak, and weak bulls don't survive. Ferdinand is crushed. He doesn't want to stay in Casa del Toro anymore. When he sees an opportunity, he runs. Workers chase him, shouting and trying to stop him. In a desperate escape, Ferdinand jumps onto a moving train, leaving them behind. The train eventually stops in the middle of a forest. Ferdinand runs off into the wilderness just as rain begins to fall. The storm grows stronger. Thunder roars. Suddenly he hears a dog barking. Terrified, Ferdinand slips into a ditch and loses consciousness. When Ferdinand wakes up, everything feels unfamiliar. He is no longer in the rain or the forest. Instead, he's been carried to a quiet home by a kind man named Juan. Standing in front of him is a small girl with gentle eyes, Nina, Juan's daughter. At first, Ferdinand panics. He doesn't understand where he is or what they'll do to him. Nina slowly steps closer, careful not to scare him. She promises that she won't hurt him. Then she offers him a flower. Something about that moment calms Ferdinand. Nina leads him outside and tells him that this place can be his home now, urging him toward the flowers growing nearby. Ferdinand is overwhelmed with joy. He loves flowers, and this place feels beautiful and peaceful. Over time, Ferdinand and Nina grow close. They eat together, sleep nearby, and spend their days laughing and playing. Time passes, and Ferdinand grows bigger and stronger, becoming a massive bull. Even so, his bond with Nina never changes. They dance, play, and live together as best friends under the same roof. One morning, Ferdinand wakes up excited. It's the day of the flower festival, his favorite time of the year. Nina invites him to come with her like always, but Juan refuses. He explains that Ferdinand is no longer a small calf. He's fully grown now, and taking him outside is too dangerous. Nina argues that Ferdinand is beautiful and gentle, but Juan reminds her that no one else understands his goodness the way they do. For Ferdinand's safety, Nina agrees not to bring him, apologizing softly. She promises to return with the most beautiful bouquet. She leaves with Pico, and Ferdinand is left sitting alone under the tree, feeling abandoned and heartbroken. As time passes, he realizes Nina might need him. That thought pushes him to make a decision. Ferdinand leaves the farm and heads to the flower festival on his own. When he arrives, Nina sees him and is shocked. She asks why he came, but before he can respond, everything goes wrong. Ferdinand becomes tangled in decorations, unable to see where he's going. He accidentally falls onto a bee, which stings him. The pain sends him into a panic. He runs wildly through the festival, knocking things over and causing destruction. People scream in fear, convinced the bull has gone mad. Animal control is called. Realizing he's in danger, Ferdinand tries to escape. He attempts to hide inside a shop but fails. The animal control team captures him and locks him inside a truck. Nina sees this happen, but it's too late. Ferdinand is taken away right in front of her. She's devastated, having lost her best friend once again. The truck takes Ferdinand back to Casa del Toro. When he realizes where he is, panic overwhelms him. He slams against the walls, desperately trying to escape. Seeing this, Moreno releases a goat named Lupe to calm him down. Lupe speaks gently, trying to soothe him, but Ferdinand is too frightened to listen. All he wants is to leave. Eventually, Lupe manages to calm him and introduces him to the other bulls. They stare in disbelief. Ferdinand, the quiet calf who loved flowers, has grown into a massive, powerful bull. Just then, Valiente approaches, clearly nervous. He admits he never thought Ferdinand would return. Ferdinand responds honestly, saying he never expected to come back either. Valiente accuses him of returning for revenge and claims that defeating Ferdinand in the ring will only make him stronger. Then he walks away. Lupe takes Ferdinand to her room, treating him kindly like a friend. She gives him a small toy shaped like a singing flower. They fall asleep, but Ferdinand lies awake through the night. As the night stretches on, Ferdinand still can't sleep. That's when three small rats sneak into the room, hoping to steal food. When they notice Ferdinand watching them, they freeze in fear, convinced he's about to crush them. Instead, Ferdinand calmly tells them he won't hurt them. Relieved, the rats introduce themselves as three siblings, Una, Dos, and Cuatro. Ferdinand allows them to take the food and even helps them. By early morning, Ferdinand attempts to escape, but he quickly realizes the entire area is surrounded by electric wires. There's no way out. Soon after, El Primero arrives at Casa del Toro. He's the most famous and feared matador of all. He tells Moreno that he's here to choose the strongest bull for his final battle. Moreno gathers all the bulls into the arena so El Primero can make his selection. Once released, the bulls immediately begin fighting each other, desperate to prove themselves. Ferdinand refuses to fight anyone. Nearby, Valiente and Guapo clash fiercely. Valiente then tells Guapo to look at El Primero. The moment Guapo sees him, fear overwhelms him and he faints. Ferdinand rushes in to help, but the sudden movement causes all the bulls to crash into each other and fall. El Primero is furious. He tells Moreno that strength alone isn't enough. Bulls need skill too. Moreno begs for another chance, but El Primero says his final fight is in 2 days and he needs the best bull before then. Because Guapo fainted, he's sent away to the slaughterhouse. Guapo, unaware of the truth, believes he's been chosen and leaves happily. Ferdinand angrily tells Valiente that this is all his fault. Valiente coldly replies that everything has changed since Ferdinand left. Now bulls are either selected as champions or sold for meat. Ferdinand feels completely broken. He misses Nina deeply, and at the same time, Nina is grieving his loss back at the farm. Suddenly, Ferdinand hears Bonus crying. Bonus explains that Guapo was his best friend. He tried to help him overcome his fear, but Guapo never did, and now he's gone. Bonus says that if they don't fight, they'll all end up in the slaughterhouse just like Guapo. The next day, every bull except Ferdinand is training hard for the arena. Ferdinand stays back. That's when Angus approaches him and reveals a painful secret he can barely see. That's why he knows he'll never win. Ferdinand gently lifts Angus's hair with his tongue, clearing his vision. For the first time, Angus sees the world clearly and notices the beauty of nature around him. He's overwhelmed with happiness and thanks Ferdinand. Soon after, Lupe approaches Ferdinand and advises him to stop helping others. She tells him to focus on training and treat bullfighting like a dance. Nearby, the horses from the neighboring grounds mock Ferdinand, asking if he even knows how to dance. This sparks a dramatic dance competition between the bulls and the horses. Against all expectations, the bulls win. Ferdinand and his friends celebrate, feeling hopeful again. Ferdinand urges everyone to escape with him, but they refuse, believing that the outside world isn't safe. Still, Ferdinand manages to convince Lupe to join him. That's when Lupe reveals a harsh truth. The place is completely surrounded. There is no simple escape. Ferdinand turns to the rats for help, but they refuse at first. When Ferdinand offers them the dancing flower, they change their minds. The rats come up with a plan. They'll sneak through the building and escape through the back door. As they move through the halls, Ferdinand stumbles upon a room that stops him cold. Inside, he sees his father's horns. He sees the horns of countless other bulls. In that moment, he realizes the horrifying truth. No bull ever defeats a matador. Every bull who enters the ring dies. Ferdinand tells Lupe they have to turn back. He can't let his friends end up like this. He gathers the bulls and shows them the room, explaining that the horns prove no one survives the arena. He begs them to leave with him. They agree, everyone except Valiente. Valiente refuses to leave and instead challenges Ferdinand. Ferdinand doesn't want to fight him, but Valiente forces the confrontation. The struggle escalates, and during the fight, Valiente's horn breaks. El Primero witnesses this moment and immediately chooses Ferdinand as the bull for the next day's fight. Valiente is taken away toward the slaughterhouse. Ferdinand is overwhelmed with guilt and sadness. He can't accept leaving Valiente behind. Together with his friends, Ferdinand creates a plan to rescue him. Machina breaks the electric wires, and the other bulls trap the three horses in a room. Ferdinand rushes to the slaughterhouse, where he finds Valiente waiting in despair. Valiente refuses to leave, believing he's useless without his horn. Ferdinand insists, telling him that outside this place, no one gives orders and everyone is free to choose their own life. At that moment, Ferdinand hears Guapo's voice and realizes he's still alive. He tries to save him, but the slaughter machine activates and begins moving. Ferdinand attempts to stop it but can't. Suddenly, Valiente steps in, hooking a rod into the machine, and together they escape. They crash straight into a truck where Ferdinand's friends arrive, shocked and relieved to see Guapo alive. The noise wakes the guards. Ferdinand pushes everyone into a vehicle, and the rats take control, driving wildly. As Moreno's men chase them, the escape turns dangerous. The car crashes, traffic blocks their path, and chaos spreads through the streets as they run for their lives. Ferdinand leads them to the train station, hoping to escape to the village. Moreno's men arrive just in time. Ferdinand manages to get everyone onto the train, but as he tries to climb aboard himself, he's captured. Meanwhile, Juan sees the news on television. The report shows bulls running through the streets, and it announces that the most dangerous one has been captured and will fight El Primero today. Realizing this bull is Ferdinand, Juan immediately decides to go and save him. Ferdinand is taken to the arena and brought face to face with El Primero. The fight begins, but Ferdinand refuses to attack. He stands calmly, unmoving. El Primero tries everything to provoke him, but nothing works. His men stab Ferdinand with a spear, forcing him to run in pain. During the chaos, El Primero's red cloth gets caught in Ferdinand's horns. When El Primero tries to grab it, Ferdinand throws it away. Furious, El Primero attacks, but Ferdinand dodges every strike. The crowd is amazed, treating it like entertainment. Nina and Juan arrive at the arena just in time to see the fight continue. El Primero grows more enraged and strikes Ferdinand's leg. In pain and anger, Ferdinand lifts El Primero with his horns, but then he notices a flower on the ground. The sight of it calms him instantly, reminding him of home. He gently releases El Primero, refusing to fight any longer. Ferdinand sits down, proving his gentle nature. The crowd grows emotional. El Primero tries to strike again, but the audience begins shouting for him to stop. Leave him alone. Flowers rain down into the arena. The crowd applauds Ferdinand, and El Primero finally lets him go. Nina runs to Ferdinand and they reunite. Soon, Ferdinand's friends arrive, thrilled to see him alive. In the end, Moreno drops all of them off at Nina's home. Surrounded by friends, flowers and freedom, Ferdinand finally finds the life he always wanted. The story ends happily, proving that true strength doesn't come from violence, but from choosing kindness in a world that expects cruelty.